morning, good evening, welcome to this week's live craft and chat where we're going to be doing the Tunisian knit stitch. But before we get into that, I have been holding on to something for a couple of days, which you may or may not care about, okay? But I care, all right? I was watching a doom scrolling, just swipe through my phone a day or two ago, and came across somebody doing something that I didn't know I could do in my own house. And they were scanning their own books into a library app. And I had no idea that this could be done in a home environment. Like, I've worked in a library. I know it can be done on a library level. I did not know that this could be done for home, and not just books, also DVDs, Blu-rays, and music, and a couple of other things. So I thought, oh my gosh, I know there's a couple of book nerds here. I absolutely know it. So I want to share with you something. Like, it's free to use. I'm not an affiliate. I only signed up for it yesterday. I only started playing with it yesterday, and it is not perfect. I will say that straight away. It's not perfect, right? But, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking excited. So it's called Libib. Let me know in the chat if you've ever heard of something called Libib. And it's both available online, like desktop, like so browser or app. Now, I only test it on my iPhone, which sounds awful, but it works on the iPhone. So I'm assuming no one here likes books or DVDs. Yeah, I definitely got the right room for this. But what I did was, like, I've got all my drinks. So I've got my coffee and I've got my tea and I've got some water, because I'm just so excited. I've been charging my phone because I'm going to need that later. But I'm going to drop us down here into, actually, I might open the app first and double check I don't have to sign in. So I've installed the app on my phone. I have actually logged into it. I've logged into it from desktop, and they sync up. So the data is stored off-site, which is fantastic. All right, let me just drop down to, here we go. Oh, you can't see my phone. Oh, wait, there's a thing I can do. Hang on, screen share. I had a screen share for phone. Hang on. It might be Mondays. Let me just see. iPhone share. All right, let me just add a camera source, because it wants to add a different phone, and I want to add this one. No, not the, I want to add, not the, what the camera's picking up. I want the screen. Hang on, you guys. Give me a second. I knew I should have checked this. I was like, no, I would just work from the desktop down view. But no. Oh, it's not going to work. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to do desktop down view, but I'll lift it up to show, right? Okay, so let me go back here to standard. All right, so I'm going to go back into the app. All right. And I've grabbed a handful of books. Okay. So we've got 200 crochet blocks, which I think if you're a crocheter, you should absolutely have this. So you want to go, I made two libraries. I've made a Blu-ray library and a books library. So in my books, I may have scanned a few books already, plus barcode, choose books, scan it. It scans it, goes searchy, look, there it is, adds it in, boom. That's done. We're finished. Moving on to the next book. Scan another item. Scan. Oh, wait, you already scanned that one. Do you have a second copy? No. So I don't want that one because I've Oh no, I don't want to delete all, but I don't want that one because I've already got it. Then books, scan, crochet motifs. Now I say double check it, read it to make sure it actually says it, because I scanned one of my Blu-rays. It was a Marvel movie, and it came up some weird arty farty thing. And scan. No item found with this info. So some of them are not there. All right. Now I will say that I scanned 20 DVDs. 2 of them weren't there. I've scanned about 40 books, and this one and a couple of Choose Your Own Adventures I bought from Aldi have been the only ones that aren't there. But you can add them in manually as well. So you can actually choose manual, go to books, and you can actually add it all in manually. So you can still add it. You just have to actually type it in. And then, like I wanted to go, which Marvel movies do I have? So type in Marvel, return. Oh, look, Guardians of the Galaxies, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, what I want to say is you'll notice none of these have Marvel written in the titles. It's because when you scan it, it grabs the description and all of the information that comes with it. And the search is for all of it, not just for the title. So when I saw that, I was like, so this person, they'd spent like $20 on like an actual handheld scanner. And I was like, man, I'm going to buy that scanner. I'm buying that scanner. I'm getting the app. The app for home personal use, free. You don't even have to put any credit card information in. 100% free. It's called Libib. Hang on, I've got the website here. Copy link. So you can do it. You can do it on the website, or you can use your phone. And I think the phone, now I don't know if it works for Android, right? Because I haven't tested it. But the phone it opens up like just a barcode scanner. Like you just click it and it opens up a photo and you just get the barcode in there and you barely get it in there and it's like, yep, got it. So yeah, it is. Yeah, the beep is satisfying, isn't it? Oh no, I was just like, man, how do I get the beeps faster? So I like stacked up an entire stack of DVDs, flipped them over. I was like, beep, 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 beep. And that's when I worked out that not all of them scan. So a couple of my, what Iron Man movies didn't scan. All the Thor movies and everything scanned, but the Iron Man movies, 1 and 2 didn't scan, 3 did. So there might be something to do with the age of a database. I don't know. But, and then it also, like I was going to make a separate DVD, separate Blu-ray list, but when it scans it, it actually shows that which was a Blu-ray and which was a DVD. So that's also very cool. But so I wanted to share about that because that is a game. Like how many of us have gone out, spotted books on sale somewhere. You're like, do I actually already have this? And then you either buy the book, realize, yes, you did have it. Now you've got 2 copies. Now you've got to bring it back for a return, if you can even do that. Or B, you go, no, I think I've already got it. I'm not going to buy it, and get home and find out you don't have it. So I definitely think that it is worth using. If you're a book nerd or a DVD nerd like me, definitely worth using. One thing I'll say is every now and again, like the first time it happened, I was about like, oh, it's doing a deep scan. So what it does is if it can't find it in like a quick scan, it'll do what it calls a deeper scan, and it's checking other databases. So it's got access to some stuff. The paid versions are for libraries and things like that. There is a paid like corporate version, but there is a 100% free personal use version. Now, one of the things that I'll say, like a lot of people, might be sitting there going, maybe, like, why would I go to that much effort to catalog my books and DVDs? Insurance. Like, I'm in Queensland. We get floods. We get trees through roofs. We get crap happen to our collections. If you don't have a comprehensive collection list, it is very hard to do your insurance claim. This can be downloaded, your whole database can be downloaded as a CSV file and transferred. So yeah, it's and then you have it, and because it's not stored locally, if whatever happens, trashes your phone or your laptop or whatever, it doesn't matter, because you just go somewhere with a browser and log in and then download it and send it as an email. So you've got some options here. Oh, look, I don't even know how long it's going to take for me to get through all mine. I know I've got multiple bookshelves around the house, plus boxes of books, plus a lot of my books are double stacked. I don't know how long it will take me to do. But the other thing is, I don't have to do it all at once. I sat down yesterday afternoon and did, so I've a lot of my, not all of them, but a lot of my DVDs are in drawers, and Blu-rays, they're in drawers, and each drawer has 3 or 4 lines of the DVDs so that you can just like read all the spines. I think it might be 3, maybe it's 4. I don't know. I did a row. I did 1 line yesterday. I pulled it all out, flipped it over, beep, 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 done. Put them all back in and walked off and did something else for the rest of the day. So you don't have to do it all at once, but once it's done, it's done. And then as you buy new books, is it beep. Now, if you want to have like lending things, you do need to have a paid plan. This is more just for you as the individual to have your books. And if you're out and about and you're like, and someone like, oh, do you have a sock knitting book? You can like socks, and it'll bring up all your sock knitting books. Like, which one do you want to borrow? You know, like if you're like me, there'll be about 10 different options at least. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I've been holding it in because I wanted to share it with you all. And also I wanted to play with it some more, because like I was like, wait a second. That movie brought up the wrong movie. And then so I had to go in and I changed it. Like the thing was, it brought up the right image, but all of the wrong information. So I was actually able to just edit that and change the information to what I wanted, rather than, and I didn't go into all the details. I just was like, name of the movie. But because it did have actually the right image, just like some rando art house movie name. So always good to keep an eye on it. But for free, I'm not complaining. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. So, yeah, that was pretty exciting. And the other exciting thing, I don't know, do you want all the exciting stuff now, or do you want me to hold some of it for later and then we get in and do our Tunisian crochet? You let me know in the chat. I'm going to sit here and sip my coffee. Also, while you're letting me know that, let me know what's in your cup. Knit Spin Girl says she's got all her knitting books entered into the Ravelry library. That's a fantastic idea as well, because then when you're doing pattern searches, you can limit it to what's in your library, and then you can and then it'll only show you patterns that you actually already have. I used to do it not only with the books in my library, which is not up to date, but also with the magazine subscriptions I got. So I used to get Interweave Knits, Interweave Crochet. And so I would add those in as well into my shelves. And so that when I do a pattern search, it brings up all of those, not just like my books. It'll actually bring in my patterns as well. So anything I actually own. I really would like to splurge on myself and actually get all my interweaves as digitals, but it feels weird double spending. Like, I haven't bought any for the last couple of years, so maybe if I just bought the next couple of years, like the last couple of years, then I wouldn't feel like I've already paid for it once. But yeah, I would love to be able to do that. That would be very cool. All right. Bianca's saying share it now. Okay. Angela is actually drinking flat water to, oh, my Social Stream Ninja dashboard is not working. Let me have a look what's going on here. Let me look at why. Oh, I haven't activated the source. That would do it. Helps if you activate it before you expect it to work. Funny that. Let me look here. I'm actually, Angela says, I'm actually drinking flat water today, struggling with some health issues, so I'm just sticking with the water. It's a good idea, Angela. That is a good idea. Bianca says, they no longer issue them, do they? I'm not sure if Interweave is still doing physical copies anymore. I don't know. I know they were going through a weird time for a while there. I don't know much about it. I'd have to look into it, but I know I can still log in and watch like the old training videos I used to buy. They're still there. I have been able to download all them. So I think I've still got one I need to go in and download. So, hey, if somebody can just type something into the chat for me so I can see if the Social Stream Ninja is working now that I actually activated it, that'd be great. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, which I will get it out of the way now, is I bought a thing. I bought a thing. I know some of you, like with specifically crocheters is what I'm talking about here. Some crocheters actually are there. Thank you, Amelia Nicole. That's working. There we go. Now we've got our emojis coming on screen. Awesome. Some crocheters don't love a handle. They actually prefer a straight metal hook, right? I've got a few friends who definitely prefer the non-handles. Now, I personally prefer handles. I learnt to crochet with hooks without handles, and then once I moved over to them, I have never moved back. Oh, thank you, Holly. I will hydrate, as a matter of fact, for that reminder. I'll have some water right now. Just double checking there's no ants in it. Because there's ants everywhere in my house at the moment. It's driving us mad. I feel like I kill 1,000 and 2,000 come out. Yeah, that's so unlike me. Yeah, I know, right? I'm going through the process of scanning in all my vintage patterns so I have PDFs instead of damaging the originals. I love that. I love that. That's so good. So not everybody loves a grippy handle. Now, and I get that. And so I saw something come up on Amazon and I was just like, wait, what? And it was a set of hooks. Now, I paid a little bit less for mine because I was getting some damaged packaging. I didn't care about the packaging. It's a set of 5 hooks. They're prim hooks. A set of 5 gunmetal prim hooks. I paid $9.11 for them because the packaging had been sticky taped back together. Their usual price, $15 for 5 hooks. I thought, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see if I like them. I'm not the biggest fan of metal only hooks, but I've got a couple of things that I specifically love, right? So yesterday I pulled out the 4mm to have a go. And one thing I'll say is they've got like they've got a slot. I don't know if you can, let me go to the actual camera. I don't know if you can see it, but can you see there's like a slight pattern there? That is this very slightest grippy, right? So your finger doesn't slide when you're using it. So like not everyone has, everyone has to put their thumb somewhere, whether you're an overhand crocheter, so your thumb goes on the guide, or whether you are a pencil holder and your thumb goes on the guide. Now, I was dubious because I'm not the biggest fan of the prim handled hooks. Now, the issue I have with them is they're just this round hook and it feels weird in my hand, whereas I'm used to hooks with a little sort of flat edge somewhere for my thumb to go, so they've got a flat section. So I'm used to hooks that do that. So the actual prim handled hooks, not the biggest fan of, but if you like the pony round hooks with the round handles, you'll have no issues with these. So I was going in a little jaded. I'm like, $9, it'll be a spare set of hooks, whatever. So this is just, now these are metal, so these are not plastic, these are metal. This is gunmetal. I believe there's some options when it comes to the colors. But if you know me, you know I'm a bit of a gunmetal fan. The second I saw gunmetal and I just went, I need those. I need that gunmetal crochet hook. I actually loved working with them. I was so surprised. I made a thing, and and I loved it. I was so surprised. Now, one of the things I really love about it is, can you see this end? It's soft and round. It's totally rounded off. So if you're one of those people with bigger hands and you end up with the hook into your hand when you're working it, or you find that you push the hook into your hand, it doesn't hurt because it's not a hard flat edge. So it's just nice. And I will say that I like, as I said before, I was a little dubious because I'm not the biggest fan of the other prim hooks. What size is that? Let's get the same size out. So we're comparing like for like. That's a 4. There we go. So these are the 2 prim hooks. Oops, there we go. Is it going to focus? Maybe not. Let's go like this. Oh, you know what we can do? Ha ha ha. Come on, camera. Let's see. Are you gonna work and do the things we want? Maybe not. Because I turned it off. That's what it was. I turned it off because I wanted to do something, and now it's having a hissy fit. Good job, you. Let's see if I can fix this. Settings, continuity. Let's not show. Airplane continuity. Turn that off. And then turn that back on. Back. Come on. Let's go to close-up cam. There we go. Now it's working. It just needed a little off and on. Pop this here. Alrighty. So these are our 2 prim hooks. Now it's going to try and focus on something else. Get out of the shot there. All right. These are our 2 prim hooks. You're going to focus on them? There we go. They are surprisingly similar, but what I will say is I actually prefer the shaping and smoothness of the gunmetal. Right? So see how like they're both ground down a little bit, but that just seems a bit rougher, and this feels smoother. So I definitely prefer the plain metal over the metal with handles. So these are both 4mm prim hooks, and one is just a straight gunmetal, and one is the hooks with a handle. So I would say, which is going to sound like the most bizarre thing for me, I would be more likely to use this one than this one, and I'm a handle girl. So being able, just like, it just feels better in my hand than this one does, because this has got like a hard edge here, and my finger was getting caught on it, and it just felt like the hook was sitting weirdly. Whereas this hook sits exactly the same, or at least it seems to, a little bit less bent forward, but I just prefer it. Anyway, I've dropped a link into the description. I'll see if I can drop it into the chat. It's an absolute bargain, right? Like, so I don't know what it is in the US, but in Australia, it is, this is a Genius link, so it should open up. It's a Genius link, which is an affiliate link. It is an Amazon affiliate, but what it does is, if you're in the USA, it'll open up Amazon USA, and if you're in Australia, it'll open up Amazon Australia. So go and have a look. I think it's definitely worth having, especially for 5 hooks. So it's a 2.5. What is it? Is it a 2? Oh no, it's a 2.5. That's what it was. This packaging was ruined, so it's sitting in the wrong spot. So we've got a 5, a 4, a 3.5, a 3, and a 2.5. And for the most part, that's what you need. So I got a discount on mine because the packaging was shoddy. So it went from 15 down to 9. I'll pay $9 for bad packaging because, in my opinion, these are going straight into my tool caddy. That's how much I like these. Where's a pair of scissors? Let's open that up. Straight into my tool caddy. They don't even need to stay in this dodgy cheap, because that's the other thing. Very cheap, very dodgy packaging. These guys get to go straight into the pool room. Straight to the pool room. There we go. You didn't get to see that. That was straight in. In they go. Boom, boom, in they go. Now they're part of the kit. So I wanted to share with you this. I love talking about good tools. I share, like, and I even tell you when tools that I loved are no longer good anymore. You know, but these are really inexpensive, definitely worth having a look at and seeing if they're going to work for you, right? Because not everything does. We're all a little bit different. We all have our own preferences when it comes to tools. Whether you like a squishy grip handle, whether you don't like a squishy grip handle, whether you like a hard handle, no handle, we all have our own individual tool preferences, right? They are not right. They are not wrong. They are a personal preference. Do they make the stitch that you want to make? Yes or no? That's the answer. There's no moralistic areas in this. It is it the right size for your yarn? Yes or no? Does it make a stitch? Yes or no? That is the answers. It's not like, oh my gosh, you don't use a hook with a handle. Oh. Now, I will say to people, like, especially if they're noticing like a bit of, like, if they have injury, they have some pain, whatever, I'll be like, have you tried a hook with a handle? Because that's why I moved over, was because I was getting like a lot of pain through here, and to the point where I was working as a stitcher and I actually could no longer hold the hook. There was so much pain. And I couldn't hold a piece of paper. Like, I'd go to lift a bottle of milk out of the fridge and literally drop it. I could not hold the weight. There was so much pain. I moved over to this guy here, a 3mm. It's this exact hook. It's this hook. Because I didn't stick with the poopy golds for long, because while it definitely did what I needed it to do, I wanted something softer. So I went and bought a tulip set. But this guy here was a game changer for me. That's where I was actually able to continue to crochet, because that's the thing. I was working with a 3mm hook. I was making a dress with a 3mm hook, so it was a lot of work. And it was just like, it was a game changer. So sometimes grabbing a hook, having a go with a different design or a different style can make a difference. And so I was just using these kinds of hooks all the time. I was just on these. I had a set of boy, and I was using the boys all the time, and they made beautiful stitches. But because I was crocheting like 13 hours a day with a 3mm hook, it was too much, and so I needed something that I could grip onto a bit better. But I don't do that anymore, and this guy was just fantastic. And also because this was just a little bit grippy, like the rest of it's perfectly smooth and delicious. And this bit here is only the slightest bit grippy, but it's enough. And so even just using it, like I actually crocheted overhand and my usual way, and my thumb didn't slide like much. Like, I'm purposely making it slide, but as I was working it, it didn't slide around. So it was great. Yeah, that dress was gorgeous, right? I agree. So they are the things that I've been holding in. Fantastic inexpensive hooks, and a way for us all to start cataloging our libraries, and not just of DVDs and books, but also music as well. So I personally am a physical media person. Look, I know I can stream it, and I do stream it, but there are times when I want to watch Babylon 5. Who's streaming Babylon 5 in Australia? That would be nobody, right? So I have all Babylon 5. I actually now have Babylon 5 on both DVD and Blu-ray. There was a Blu-ray box set that was just so inexpensive I couldn't say no to it. You know, do I feel like watching Eureka? Who's streaming Eureka in Australia at the moment? Oh, that would be nobody. So because of the shows that I love to rewatch over and over again aren't always streaming when I want to watch them, I've got the box sets. I buy the DVDs because, like, I personally am a control freak, and I like to be able to watch the shows when I want to watch them. And what happens if I've got no internet? Does that mean I can't watch my shows anymore? No, I can absolutely watch them. Ha ha ha, because I have them on physical media. I'm not reliant upon your internets for my entertainment. Anyway. So, who is ready to learn the Tunisian knit stitch? Just out of curiosity. I mean, I know that's what we're all here for. Who's ready? Who's got their hooks? Who's got their what am I doing here? I need, oh, what have I done with that? Oh, it's over here. Oh, so far away I can't reach it. There we go. I'm just setting everything up here. I've got my beautiful sample that it's not quite finished, but I'm gonna run out of yarn before it's the size I want it. So that'll be fine. But it's a face washer for me, so does it have to be perfectly square? No. No, it doesn't, because guess what? It's mine and it doesn't have to be. Now, I am just going to quickly, like while you guys get all your stuff ready, I'm just going to pull back this row that I got done for the photo. And then I'll be able to use this hook for the other yarn. So, oh, do I need, no, I need this hook for the other yarn, I think. No, I need this one. I need this one. Okay. So we're going to be doing the Tunisian knit stitch today. So everyone get ready, get your stuff sorted. I'm just doing the pullback row. It's the exact same pullback row that we did for the other one. So I don't need to grab the camera out for that just yet. I should have done this before the stream, but no, I was doing other things, running around like a headless chicken, having an argument with Abby over whether it's hot enough for me to have the air conditioning on. Like, I need to even ask. It's going on. It's muggy as, and I was all sweaty and gross. And I thought it was a t-shirt I was wearing, and so did she. So I changed t-shirt, but no, I was still sweaty and gross. So I put the aircon on. Haha, because I'm the mum, and I can do that if I want. Oh dear. Because it's not so much that it's temperature hot, it's just so humid and sticky, and I've got to sit here under lights with the window closed. Knit Spin Girls is ready. Let me know in the chat if you're ready. Come on. Knit Spin Girls got her stuff ready. I know Talia is not going to be joining in live today because she's left her supplies elsewhere, which is fair enough. Fair enough. You can watch the replay from about 10:30, so about halfway in. I wouldn't say that first 30 minutes is wasted. We learned some cool stuff about some great apps. Okay, so let's go up to close-up time. Nope, do I have a close-up past the face? There we go. That's the one we want. Alrighty. So this is the Tunisian knit stitch. And what does that look like? Oh, goodness. A knitted stitch is what it looks like from the front. From the back, not so much. It's very dense, it's very squishy, and it's got some seriously good texture. It'll be fantastic for a face washer, right? But from the front, it could be mistaken for a knit stitch. Absolutely. Now look what happens if you don't watch what you're doing carefully. Oh, wow. I guess where I accidentally did two stitches together. Look at this. So you can actually do shaping as well. You can decrease and increase stitches, which we're not going into today, but it can absolutely be done. So, you know, if you're thinking, oh, what could I ever use these squares for? You don't need to necessarily make squares. All kinds of shaping work. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the pink. We're going to do our 10 stitch sample, or 11 stitches, but not 12. No, I'm kidding. You do whatever you want. This is another one where the repeat number doesn't actually matter. But just keep in mind that whatever you go with, I just need to move some stuff here so I can actually see what I'm doing. You just need to keep in mind that whatever you chain is the number of stitches you'll have. Okay, so if you need an odd number, make sure you've got an odd number of stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to go 11, and this time we'll remember to skip the first stitch. Chantel, I'm saying this for me, not necessarily all of you, definitely for me, because last time I did not skip the first stitch and I was like, why have I got 12 stitches? Oh my gosh, what have I done? And it was just purely because I forgot to skip that first stitch because its loop is already on the needle, on the hook. So I don't know why, but I feel like this is more in my way than it was last time. I'll have to have a jiggery pokery in a second. I'll get all these stitches on first. So we start off exactly the same. We pick up all our stitches, we go through, we pick up our back loops if that's what we're into, which I most definitely am. You don't have to if you don't want to. And I'm going to say that again. If you don't want to pick up from the back loop, you don't have to. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. You don't have to. But I like to pick up through the back loop because I like to have that at the bottom, because it matches more closely to what I end up with at the top. So then our next row is just the standard draw through 1, then draw through 2 to the end. Okay, so it is exactly the same startup as the simple stitch. Okay. Now, one thing I'll say, and now this may not be a situation for everybody, but it is for me. Can you see how here on the sides I've got some loose wobbly stitches? It's because I was not watching my tension. So you can see here I watched my tension, there I got sidetracked. Here I was purposefully not doing it so I could show this to you. Then I was just like, la 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 la, this is how it's supposed to look. Oh gosh, forgot, got stuck into something else, la 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 la. So you do need to keep an eye on your edge tension, because you will end up with this loosey-goosey on the side here. Now for me, it happens mostly with this stitch, not so much with the simple stitch, and I don't know why. Okay, if you know why, let me know. All right, so now we've got our foundation row is done. Now we need to do our first Tunisian knit stitch. So we've already got our first loop on the hook. So we go into the second loop. Now for the simple stitch, you did this. We're doing the knit stitch. The knit stitch, you go all the way through to the back. Okay, all the way through the back of your stitch. Yarn over and draw it through. So see how it's now between the two legs of the stitch? So in through the middle, like all the way through to the back. Yarn over, draw that loop through and bring it up. And now it is sitting between the two legs of the stitch. And you do that all the way across. So in through the middle, all the way across, all the way through to the back. Yarn over. Onto the next stitch, all the way through the back, all the way through the back, and then count your stitches at the end. And then our side stitch is the same as what we did before, where we want to grab the two little loops. It just creates a much nicer edge, and again, you don't have to do it. I just think it's better. Now, I started with 10 stitches. I want to make sure I still got 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I missed one there. You can even just see where I missed it. Yeah, I did. So I've got to go back to there. I think that's where I missed it. Let me double check it. Yeah, and I did. I missed that stitch there. So in through that one. Bring it through. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then my edge stitch is 10. Go. Double check my count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, and then we pull it back the same way as we usually do. Yarn over, draw through 1, yarn over, draw through 2, draw through 2, draw through 2, all the way to the bottom of the jar. And then making sure we're snugging up that last stitch, because again, we don't want this wibbly wobbly edge of doom that we got on this one. We want this nice clean edge. Now, as I said, this could be a Chantel problem, but I may share the problem with my friends. Tag, great to see you. Enjoy that cabled beanie. And so our next row is the same. We've already got our first loop on our hook. We go into the second one. all the way through, bring it out, all the way through. Now, one thing I will say is as you go up to this second stitch, you can actually feel a gap between the row before. Let me just flip this for you here. You can feel the gap between the row before. So you want to make sure that when you're poking through, you're only getting through here and you're not accidentally catching any of this. So I tend to, with my finger, sort of roll it away. I roll it down. So at the back, I'm rolling that down just so it's out of the way. Now, it may not be in your way, definitely in my way. So I just roll that out of the way. And when you don't, you can feel a bit more, you feel like you're pushing through more yarn because you are. And again, I will double count because I can't be trusted. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. And then yarn over and pull it back. Now the whole rolling away thing, that ends up becoming an automatic function of your fingers while you're working. You don't even realize you're doing it, which is why I nearly forgot to mention it because I forgot I was doing it. But yeah, it's one of those things where you feel it, and if it is in your way, roll it down, and if it's not in your way, you don't need to worry about it. Now I did find that as I got further up, the weight of it was keeping it down more. I didn't need to roll it away as much, but definitely for the first few rows, I needed to roll it away. So let me know how you're going with this. So those weird flap ridge things on the back are normal. Yes, they are. They're part of the stitch. So let me just finish my row here and I will show you the weird ridge back flap things. So yes. So each row has its own little ridge. So in here, they tend to blend together more, but they are individual ridges. When you pull it further apart, you can see each is a row of ridges. And that is totally normal. It's just part of the stitch. So, but they do tend to sit together more. Excuse me, camera. They do tend to sit together more once you've done more. But just when you're very first starting, they do sort of feel, just going back down to the bottom rows here, they do blend in even at the bottom. But yes, when you're very first starting, they do feel very weird. And it does make a very thick fabric. I probably would not make a sweater in Queensland out of this stitch because it is very thick. However, it would be beautiful on a blanket. It's beautiful on a face washer. And if you are going somewhere colder than Queensland, it'd probably actually be beautiful to wear as a sweater as well. But yeah, it's quite thick. It's quite chunky. And you do have a bit of bulk on the back here, but it's still beautiful to have. Are they the weird ridge back flap things that you were talking about, Knit Spin Girls? Going to keep going until I see more questions or learn where you're up to. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Excellent. Yeah, and you're right. The first one does look strange. It does sit there looking a bit weird or hanging out by itself. But once you start getting a few more in, they definitely start to sit better. So, Sue Ellen, great to see you. If this is a Tunisian knit stitch, last week was the Tunisian simple stitch. And then how do you think this stitch would go with 100% alpaca for fingerless gloves? I honestly don't know the answer to that. I find that unlike a knitted knit stitch, this does not have the same stretch and give that the knitted knit stitch has. It has the same look, but it creates an entirely different fabric. All I can say is give it a try and see if you're happy with it. It would create quite a thick fabric, so that's a lot of alpaca thickness. So it would depend on where you're going and why you need the extra thick warm gloves. I don't know if it would have the same stretch and give that you would normally need in gloves, in all honesty. Mittens, I can absolutely see it working for. Gloves, I'm not so sure, especially, let me just have a look here. Oh, they're fingerless gloves. I was going to say, especially if they had fingers, but yeah, fingerless gloves. I would definitely need to have a look at it. So think of it like any other crochet stitch that doesn't so much have stretch, rather than like a knitted stitch that has stretch and give. So it has a little stretch and give, but just not very much. Not like true knitted stitches. So definitely would test it. Wouldn't make a pair straight up. I'd test one and see how it goes. Oh yeah, so it's snowy and frosty winters, so warmth is a factor. Yeah, so maybe it will work beautifully, especially if you need that extra thickness. I would test one out and see if you're happy with the actual flexibility of the fabric. Alpaca is notorious for not having any elasticity in it. So maybe the fact that it doesn't have as much stretch and give is actually a bonus. I would make one and test it out. It'd definitely be worth a test for sure, because I could see it working. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. Yeah. And while I personally am allergic to alpaca, I have used alpaca, which is how I found out I'm allergic to it. So I do understand the warmth that it has, and so it's lovely and lightweight and warm at the same time. So definitely, I think it would be worth a test. But just remember, it does make quite a thick, chunky fabric, which in your instance is a good thing, but maybe not for everybody. I'm going to keep going because I need my square. I don't pull these out. I keep these and I'm using them, or I will be using them myself as my makeup removers and my face wipes. So I'm actually, as I make these squares, I'm finishing them off as well. So I'm going to have my own little set of face washers, and I'm going to have my own little set of wipes to add in with what I've already got, and go from there. So next week we're going to be learning the honeycomb stitch. Now that one's going to be a little trickier because we kind of technically have to learn two things at the same time. I was just looking for the rest of my little samples, but I don't know where they are. I finished off this guy through the week. He's all done now. So that's my simple stitch. The knit stitch is definitely thicker than the simple stitch for sure. So yeah, I'll keep going here. Actually, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. So let me know in the chat if you are working along with us today in this project, or if you're just lurking and hanging out for conversation, or what it is. Why are you here? Why are you here? She says, asking people to type as well as crochet at the same time. Like, go Chantel. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I've missed one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, I just missed counting one. But see how much looser that first stitch is compared to the rest? So I'm just gonna I could just drop it, or I could just go through and tighten all the stitches. Francis says, I'm here about 10 minutes behind in the stream, watching at 1:25 to catch up. You'll be here with us soon, Francis, I'm sure. Holly's knitting a pair of socks for her friend right now. That's awesome. That's a true friend who actually knits socks for their friends. I don't know if I like anybody enough to knit socks for them at the moment. Not even me. I used to knit socks for Tim all the time, but his socks he knitted in like a worsted weight wool. So I used to get Bendigo Luxury in 10 ply. That no problems. I had no problems knitting him socks out of that. It was so easy. But I just haven't been in the 4-ply knit a pair of socks frame of mind. Although I really want to try the Laura Nelkin heel flap thing with the knitting barber. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Excellent. And I just haven't gotten there. And like it's not a new technique for her anymore. She's on to bigger and better things now. Let me just check. I actually think I don't need this row. Do I have a square? Yes, I do. All right, I'm going to come in and cast off this. So go through the stitch like you're creating one and slip stitch it off. Or single crochet it off depending on what you want, but I'm going to slip stitch off for this. Scully Pop, good to see you. How you going, man? Oh, very nice. That was she's well and truly earned a pair of handmade socks for sure. Well and truly. Okay, and I need the scissors. Boom. Enough to weave in an end. And I've got a little tiny sample done with matching top and bottom edges. It is a lot firmer than the simple stitch. It's a lot thicker. I would actually even be tempted to go up a hook size for it. It would depend on what you want out of it, which is one of the reasons why I was looking for my other sample. Oh, there they are. I tucked them away. I wanted to compare the pair. I think this was a 10 stitch sample. Let me just count. It might be 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, that's a 10 stitch sample. This is a 10 stitch sample. Now, I obviously did an extra couple of rows, but it is definitely as nearly as, oh, you can't see that because it's, here we go. So these are both 10 stitch samples. Now, obviously, I did an extra couple of rows on this one, but it's still nearly a whole stitch width difference. So you could go up probably one hook size to get them to match sizes. Now, personally, I don't care if they match sizes or not. Not for this. But yeah, it's definitely a whole stitch difference there. And let me just count the rows here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. It's actually a whole row's difference in row heights as well, because that was row 9 there. So it goes. So if you want them to match up, I would either do an additional stitch and an additional row. I'm just trying to make sure I am measuring that up properly. Yeah. So yeah, do the additional stitch and do the additional row to get them to match up properly. So yeah. Oh, come on. Where are you? What are you going to zoom in on? Where are you going? Seriously. This is where the work is. Focus on the work, please. But yeah, definitely thicker as well. So I'm just like, did I use a different hook for this? I think I used the blue hook. I don't think I grabbed a different hook for it. Like, what's the pink one? The pink one feels a bit firmer, maybe. Maybe I'll compare the pink to the pink. No, but still. I mean, that one's worse because that was an 11 stitch, so that's nearly 2 stitches out there. Like, you can see that there's 2 stitches, not just the one. Blocking would definitely help. Yeah, definitely. But let me just, so this was an 11 stitch, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is that second bottom one. Now I did do the different cast off edge, so it will be slightly thinner on the cast off. But there we go. That should really be going up to the top there. So yes, it creates a more densely compacted fabric than the other stitches do. So making that allowance and understanding that it's not only thicker and more dense on the back, it actually pulls the stitches in tighter as well. It definitely makes a difference. So when you are planning to use this, keep that in mind as well. So yeah. Alison says, I've been applying fine lace weight hand spun for days, so taking a break and making a washcloth along with you. That is awesome, Alison. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Sometimes we need a break from our usual, just to, you know, get stuff done. Give our fingers a break from working with really fine things. This is nice chunky worsted weight cotton here, so. But yeah, definitely creates a more compact. I'll have to double check now. I'm like, did I use a bigger hook for these? Maybe I did. Maybe I did use a bigger hook for these, because I did have out my stainless steel. I'm gonna have to double check, because I'm like, did I use a 7mm? These just feel so. I'll have to double check. I'll let it. Knitspin Girl says my AliExpress set is supposed to arrive tomorrow, so I'll be able to make my face washer size samples. Fantastic. So these are my face washer size samples. There's my blue. There's my red. So that's the simple. That's the knit. Francis is only doing the small swatch today. Did you? Yeah, it's a bit hard to do the full swatches during the tutorial. I mean, and even I struggle with it. So, but yeah, so that's where we're up to. So what I am doing though is I made a mistake. Look at this. Can you see how I accidentally put 2 stitches together there? Now, because this is for me, I'm not going to rip it back and fix it, but usually I would. But I had accidentally cast on too many stitches in the first place. I put 33 on instead of 31. And so, like, I'm just, like, this other one is 31. I'm just trying to line them up. The red has a few more rows already because it's done, obviously. But yeah, the 33 has a few more stitches, so it needs a few more rows. But I'm nearly out of blue. So we'll just keep going. We'll keep going so we can keep chatting while we craft, right? So who thinks they're going to give that Libib app a run? See if it works for them. Like, or am I the only book hoarder in our little group here? And DVD slash Blu-ray. Oh, you can also do board games and also like your PlayStation and Wii games and stuff. Or I don't know about Wii games, but yeah, your PlayStation games I know you can definitely do. Not that I have, but according to their website. But you can also do board games, which I'm like, I have board games. I have lots of board games. That could be fun. And because I'm considering it from like the insurance perspective, like just making sure I've got an up-to-date list of my games and books and things. Like we all know that say the worst happened and we did lose everything, we probably wouldn't replace every single book that we owned. But it would be nice to be able to replace as many of them as we wanted to, right? Now I am going to do a count and double check I'm down to 32. Yeah, Vampire says I might give it a try. At least it'll lessen the chance of buying double ups. Well, that's a big issue for me. I'm like, do I have book 10 of that series already? Like, especially when it's a long series. Yep, 32. Alrighty. I'm just like double checking, did I just do it again? Because I think that's how I did it last time, thinking I didn't quite grab everything and not watching it properly. It's not going to do anything on this washer because it's just for me. But it might make the difference for somebody else. Oops, sorry. Um, Alison says I've doubled up a couple of times with craft books. Yeah, me too. Luckily, I can gift them. And a couple of novels here and there, and a Blu-ray or two. Where I was like, oh my god, that's such a good price. I need to get that. And then you buy it, and then you go to put it with the others, and that's when you realize you've already got it, and you're just like, oh man. Now, luckily, if you buy it from somewhere like Amazon, you can send it back. But I don't often buy my DVDs and Blu-rays from Amazon. I usually get them from Sanity or somewhere like that. But yeah, just it's frustrating. I've I have an illustrated copy of Edgar Allan Poe's poems published in 1872. I don't think I'll ever be able to replace. I don't think you will be able to replace that. That'd be one of the books that I would have in my box with like my passport and all that sort of stuff. That would come with me. Something that precious would come with me. Also, I don't think those books would have barcodes. So I don't think you could scan it. I was just thinking about like I've got a little handheld pocket-sized version of Macbeth from like 1901 and no barcode. There'll be no barcode on that. Now, a little bit of housekeeping, which I probably should have done at the start of the stream, is this week is Caffeinated Crafters. For those of us local in the Brisbane, Gold Coast, Logan area, we meet up at the Logan IKEA. So yeah, it is definitely a fun night out. We just sit around taking over the food court, chatting, laughing, crafting, eating meatballs or whatever it is you want to order yourself, and just having a good night with some crafty friends in a well-lit situation. That's probably the biggest plus for IKEA, is that it's very well lit, and that it has all undercover parking. So yeah, we've got that on tonight, which is really, really going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I haven't caught up with anybody in ages, between me being away, me then getting sick, then a cyclone. I feel like I haven't seen anyone in a long, long time. So we're definitely going to be doing that. And then this weekend is, I've got a big weekend of work, but also of play. I'm probably going to be very tired on Monday. Let's be honest. So got some extra work on, which I'm loving, but also it's Tim's 50th birthday party. So my husband turned 50 2 days ago, and he is having his shindig on Saturday night. So, and you know, we're not party animals, so we're not going to be out all night or anything like that. But yeah, it'll be a bit of fun, hanging out, chatting with humans, and yeah, we'll see how that all goes as well. And I'm already the designated driver, so that makes it easy for me. Boom, hit a thing. It's going to be a bit of fun. All right, this camera is just proving difficult. We've learnt all the up close stuff. Does anybody need to see anything else up close, or can I drop this camera angle? Well, I have a coffee, and it's actually finally looking at it. Yeah, that's right. No barcode, no ISBN numbers on those old books. Oh, we do have a Louie in the house. Hello, big boy. That way. You're all coiled up quite tightly there, little man. Angela says, I'm heading to bed. I have a doctor's appointment at 8 a.m. and that's super early. Oh, well, I hope it all goes well. Good night, Angela. All right, so I'm going to switch back over to our usual, and I will put my phone on charge because it's starting to get a bit low. Don't need that. A granny square deck, which is a multi-purpose thing. It is also a deck for my hooks. Now, let me just where is the Logitech Brio? We would like to zoom in. Did that zoom back out again? Excuse me, I wanted to zoom in. I clicked zoom in for a reason. Rude. All right. So yeah, so next week we're going to be doing our third new stitch. And then the week after we have a project to combine all our stitches into one thing. So yeah, as Knitspin Girl says, her swatch is done. And she is back to knitting on her socks. That is awesome. I'm still working on my Musselburgh hat. I feel like I've actually gotten a lot more done since I switched it down to those, the shorter circs. Made total sense. Don't know why I didn't do it earlier. I realized why I didn't do it at the start, and that's because I was magic looping all the crown shaping, and so I wanted the longer, and I think I had planned to drop down to the smaller circs and then never did it. So dumb me, but that has been rectified now, and now I'm powering along. So I do have a limited amount of yarn in this one particular ball. It was not a full 100 gram ball. It was only like a 95 gram ball or something. And so I won't get quite the same length out of it as some of the other hats, but I think it will be fine. And then once I've done that one, because it's the tester hat, right? Once I've done that one, I do plan on doing another one with multiple colors in it. So that one will be a longer. I watched this really great Aussie YouTube channel where she's made, I cannot think of her name, Mostly Knitting or something like that. I'll have to check. Anyway, she's made like 11 billion Musselburgh hats, and she went through it and did a video showing all of her hats, the different lengths that she did, and that she's come out with her preferred length. I think she said she's made like 20 of these hats. And like, so she's showing her preferred length and where, how and when she changes colors to get the best effect. And so I was just like, oh man, I'm in. I'm so in. So I'm going to be following one of her adaptations for my next hat. I've just been crocheting along, but just pulled back the edge because the edge was too wishy-washy. Yeah, it's definitely, I definitely notice it a lot more with this stitch than I did with this stitch. So with the simple stitch, where is the edge? So that's my edge on the simple stitch, right? And it doesn't seem wishy-washy at all. But on this one, there's definite like sections where I've stopped concentrating and stopped pulling it in tighter. So I definitely need to concentrate harder on that edge to make sure I don't make it wishy, like all loosey-goosey. If anyone has any tips and tricks, like maybe like, you know how on this edge we do that thing where we go through both loops to get the nicer edge. If anyone's got any tips and tricks on doing that for the first edge as well, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Dolores says, remember that with your Musselburgh hat, if you run out of yarn, you can just use a coordinating color and just make that on the inside of the hat. Absolutely, I understand. Knitspin Girl says, if you weigh the ball before you start and then after you've done the increases, yep. I've got that as well. I've put that in the pattern. According to the pattern, it means I only get to knit 40 centimeters before I have to start doing the shaping again, which just feels like it's going to be a bit of a shorter hat. So I'm not sure if it's going to get a brim. So we'll see. We'll see. What I was planning on doing is once it's at that point, I was going to turn it and then just pin it to the edges of where that shaping is and try it on and see if I do get a brim, because I'd prefer not to. I prefer a roll up than a not roll up, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm very curious just to see how it goes straight as. And like, I could be all like, oh no, it's gonna be a pain and it's not gonna do it. And then it'd be perfectly fine. Like a total non-event. Like it's a nothing burger. Musselburgh, sorry. Let me just see if I can find that video of the chick. I think to YouTube. I think her channel was called Mostly Knitting. I could be wrong. No, it is. That's her channel name. It is. Oh, I actually remembered something correctly. Mostly Knitting. Just grabbing the link for the actual video I watched. She'd made 12. Share. Copy link into the chat. There you go. So that's the video that I watched. So it is Mostly Knitting. She is an Australian channel. I just pause. Please don't say any words. I don't want to get in trouble. Where is she from? And she teaches knitting classes at Skein Sisters. But she doesn't say what her name is. I'm guessing her name is Tash. But yeah, definitely go and check that one out. If you are a muscle burrow knitter, muscle burrow knitter, or someone considering the muscle burrow, then go and check out that channel. Yeah, she is. She's near Sydney. So if she's working at Skein Sisters, then she'd be close to Sydney. So yeah, but yeah, like, so her videos encourage me that my little short hat may actually be okay. But the other thing is, it was always the test hat. It was always the, do I like it? And I know I can make it longer by adding in the extra yarn, but I kind of like the fact that it's, you can turn it inside out. And if I just do that randomly, it's going to look weird. Unless I make it like a little bit extra long to, you know, accommodate the turn, so that when you turn it up, it covers the line. Yeah. Oh, it's Kelly knows Tash. Okay. Kelly says she's the one that showed me the math for converting a knit sweater or top dress. Well, she is a math teacher. So I would hope that she knows the math. So that is awesome. My math is all a bit jiggery pokery, but I'm sure her math is amazing. But yeah, her channel looked really, like, that video was so good that I just had to, I watched the whole thing a couple of times to sort of work out, okay, which one do I want to make next? And I like the formula that she uses, and like, I like how they sit on her head. Now, obviously, I'm not going to know until I've got one for my head. Francis says it feels weird using an ergonomic crochet hook after the Tunisian hook. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Now, I'm not worrying about the shape of this particular face washer. I'm just going to use up the last of this cotton. So if it makes it a bit long or a bit short, I don't actually care. It's just a face washer for our family. I love having them in the shower. They're really nice on your skin, especially on your face. Knitspin Girl says, I watched her video before I made my last 3. They're addictive. And that's the problem I'm coming up with. I'm actually finding them, like, it sounds bizarre. To me, it feels how some people feel socks are addictive. I feel that hat is equally that addictive using the same yarn. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I can still get the cool, fun, you know, 4-ply yarns, but instead of having to make like socks out of it, which I don't actually wear socks all that often, I live in Queensland, I get to have like all these hats, which I tend to wear beanies whenever I travel. So having that is a better option. Although I could probably make myself some nice, like, I like socks that are a specific length, right? So I like my socks for my little short fat feet, right? Cover the foot, go up the ankle, and just past where all the shoe tongue and everything is. I don't like shoe tongue touching my leg, or my, my foot. I don't like that. So I want it to come just past there. So just above the shoe by like maybe an inch, and that's the end of the sock. That's not where I start the ribbing. That's the end of the sock. That's where I like my socks to sit. I would like to not touch shoe tongue. That's basically what it comes down to. Like wherever that shoe tongue touches my foot, that's as far as I need my sock. Thanks very much. Welcome to my TED Talk. And it's not like I think it's gross or anything like that. It's just uncomfortable. I know friends that like wear barefoot with sand shoes, and I'm just like, how is that comfortable? Does it not like feel weird near your toes and stuff? Like, no. And if I wear the little sockets and things like that, which I've definitely tried because I love the idea of them, I don't, they don't quite come up quite far enough. So they're good for like other shoes that I've I use them a lot for my sort of more open-footed loafers, or is loafers the name for them? Like slip-on runners and things like that have got the lower across the top of the foot thing. They're perfect for those. But when it comes to like actual runners that do up laces kind of thing, yeah. So I've got to sit down and do it. Is what it is. I've just got to do it. And so, like, I've got these bamboo socks that I absolutely love that I just bought. I think they're Big W or Kmart. I think actually Big W. I think they're Big W bamboo socks. And what I do is I actually, because they're too long, I don't like how long they are, I actually roll it down back over my foot a little bit just so they sit exactly where I want them. And because they're got so much stretch and give, I can actually do that. So I definitely, I find that is like what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of those socks, put it on my foot how I like it, and then carefully remove it and do the measure do's, because that's the perfect way I like mine. Hello, Renee Unraveled. Great to see you. So yeah, it's, and we all like our socks and stuff in different spots. And the advantage is if you make your own, guess what? You can end them wherever you want. I've got my knee-high socks that I love. They're fun. And I want some shorter socks for inside my little runners. The other advantage of that is that I can get 2 pairs out of 100 grams, because I've got little short feet as well as I like my socks short. I wear hand-knit skimmer socks with my expensive Mary Janes. Bare feet in the shoes feels ick to me. Yeah, I'm okay with bare feet in sandals. I'm okay in bare feet in thongs, but for some reason, bare feet enclosed in shoes is ick to me as well. And do you know what I think part of it is, Knit Spin Girls? We're in an area that gets very humid and hot. And when we have our bare feet enclosed in shoes, it becomes a swamp. Right? So if they're open shoes, I've got no issues. But if they're closed in shoes, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. But we all have our own icks. We all have things that we do and don't like. Oh, Leanne, if you want to watch actually how we did this today, you'll need to go back for the sample. So we started at about 30 minutes in, but don't skip the start, because I talked about some fantastic hooks I got my hands on, and also a new app that I'm obsessed with. So they're way back at the start. So if you've come in late, once the stream is over, you can run back and check out the first half an hour, where I talk about like a couple of things that I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know many people that are fans of swamp feet, Like, let me know in the chat. Are you a fan of having swamp feet? that I'm really curious. Are Knit Spin Girls and myself alone in the hashtag No Swamp Feet? I'm very curious. Very curious. Look, I also did something this week that's a bit dumb, but also exciting. I'm not sure if anyone's noticed. Oh, look, my slider now matches my cup color. It's not black. It's not black. Oh, no, the Yeti's upside down. I better fix that. There we go. Not black. Matches my cup. That's sad. I'm aware how sad that is. But I was out and about looking for something else and spotted those, and I was just like, they got to come home with me. Now, admittedly, it's a 3-pack, and I don't have cups in the colours of the other two. So now I'm like, maybe I need to buy some extra cups in those 2 colours, but they're boring colours. They'll work with the other cups. Like, you know, they'll work just as good as the black does. Matches the cup and my chair. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sort of sitting here thinking, is this one actually my cup, or is this one of Abby's? Because I've got one and she's got 2, I think, because we've got the 3 of them. But we all just use them interchangeably because we've got another one of these cups that actually matches my water bottle. So, yeah. Francis says, always socks with shoes. Yeah. Like, I don't even like it, like, if I've got, like, at the front door and I've got to run out to the letterbox and all I've got there is sand shoes or something, or runners. I don't even like jumping into those to run to the letterbox in. Like, I'm like, what other options do I have? I would rather wear Abby's slides than my shoes without socks. Like, that's how I feel about that. That's how much I don't like the feeling. And when I was a kid, I used to live in those, you know, we used to call them kung fu shoes. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're like, they've got a black plastic bottom with, a brown plastic bottom with black canvas over the foot and around the heel. Like, I had a sock tan that was a shoe tan. I wore those so much. But yeah, and I used to wear volleys a lot. And when I was a kid, I would wear my volleys without socks. Admittedly, I lived on an island that was really sandy, and you'd end up with sandal through your socks, and it was gross. So that's why I started doing that there. But yeah. Kung Fu Mary shoes? I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find it. Kung Fu shoes, Australia. Oh, get away from me, Temu. How did I accidentally click on that? No, I can't. No, they don't seem to have photos of them. Go away. I don't like this searching feature. Oh no, I clicked Temu again. Get off. I don't want that. I mean, we called them the Kung Fu shoes. I don't know if that's actually what their name was. There was no little elastic piece or anything. I don't think. I mean, I'm like talking 1990s, right? Happy shoes. That's them. I lived in them. They were perfect for island living. Yeah, I do usually have my thongs or slides at the front door, but every now and again they're at a different door. Because we do have 3 doors that I use. So sometimes they're at a different door. and because I walk in the door and just kick them off. My front door has the shoe basket, so that's usually where I drop them. What have I done there? See that? I've totally janked something up. Did I miss a stitch? I did. I think I've totally missed a stitch. Oh well. This one's just for me. I'm not going back and fixing it, she says, while not looking at it, just in case she really feels the need to go back and fix it. No, I'm not. I didn't drop a stitch. It's not going to come undone. I just skipped a stitch. Oh my gosh, Chantel. Don't be a perfectionist for a face washer. Don't be a perfectionist. Just keep going forward. Because you know, if you go back to fix that one, you're going to make yourself go back and fix the other one. And therefore, you'll have half a washer to redo. That's my song for today. Thanks for coming. I don't need to make it perfect for this particular evolution. It's just a face washer to throw in the bathroom. No one sees it but me. No one sees it but me. Have I accidentally... Oh, look at that. I nearly dropped off 2 there. See how I've got 2? That needs to come back on. That's what's happening. I'm not focusing. And with Tunisian, I don't know about you guys, I really need to focus with Tunisian. It's not my... Like, it's I love Tunisian fabric, but I really find that it's like, for me, like lace. I need to concentrate on it while I'm working on it. Leanne, stop that. Leanne's like, you should totally show us how to frog it and redo it. I don't want to. I'm like back here again, like looking at this mistake because you can see where I've made the mistake. So let me just... So I'm just going to swing this hook around. I skipped a stitch there. So, oh, it's not focusing. Let me just see if I can just zoom in this way. I've got a new thing here that I don't know where it came from. It just installed itself on my computer and it's for controlling my webcam. It's not the best, obviously. Come on. I would like to go, there it is, and zoom in some more. So basically, where's the pointy thing? Hello, pointy thing. Welcome to my live. So we've got this row of stitches here, and I missed that stitch. So this one's coming across because I've done something janky there. So technically speaking, the stitches are still there. That row is there and this row is here. But I've done something janky there, like a yarn over or something. Whereas all the way down here, I actually accidentally, before, like when I was like, oh, I've got too many. So when you go through to bring through your 2 loops, if you accidentally grab that 3rd loop, that's how you do that decrease. But we only want to bring through 2 loops, not 3. Finally, Anne. You knew I was going to have to do it. I wasn't going to be able to leave it. This one I can leave. It still looks nearly intentional. This one, on the other hand, I don't know what the hell I did to get that. But it does look like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm just having to frog it out and pick it back up again. So yeah, when we frog out Tunisian, it's just like normal crochet. Even though it looks like knit stitches, we're still able to, let me just see as we get what I did. It looks like I did something janky there. Let me just see if I can pick these stitches up and just fix it up. All right, let's see. Yarn over, pull through 2. If this doesn't fix it, I'll need to pull back 1 more row because it could be like loose or something. Yeah, no, it's the row before. I've got to pull back 1 more. Oh, I worked it out. I worked it out. Okay, I'd accidentally started going in one direction and then ended up going another direction. So I'd done like a short row. So it was like a turn in a short row. I can't believe you're doing this. I would have bet money on it. I would have confidently put money on you pulling it back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to just pull back to the beginning of the row rather than try and pick those stitches up. All right, yeah, so I'd accidentally started doing short row. Leanne, it's Leanne's fault that I had to do this. I was okay. I was not okay with it, but I was going to keep going with it. But that's the importance of making sure that you know which direction you're going in. I really don't recommend putting this down while you're in the middle of a row, because like if you're like this, you're like, am I pulling through or am I, you know, where am I up to now? It's easier to see when you're on a pickup row. Like, okay, like that is high. Like, you would just move these out of the way. When you put your hook like that, everything's higher, right? So it's easier to see that you're still on a pickup row. But when you're on a pull back row, which we'll get to shortly, it's so much harder to see at a glance where exactly you're up to. Now, if you really have a good look, yes, you can see it. Yeah, you were saying you were okay with it. We know you. You were so not okay with it. I was so not okay with it. But I'm trying really hard not to be a perfectionist with these things and just enjoy the process. But no, I had to be a perfectionist. Look at all this yarn bath. I was nearly at the end of the ball. I was nearly done. Oh. I had to pull out like 5 rows. Oh, man. Oh, Louis ran away. We don't need Louis Cam on an empty bed. Oh, dear. And that's very blue there, isn't it? It's very blue. Let's see if we can fix that up like that. That temperature needs to come down. I think it's just because of how much we've zoomed in. It's just because we've zoomed in a lot to try and get the nice close-up from the overhead camera rather than using the close-up camera. Oh, dear. Leanne knows. Yeah, I know. It's all right, Dolores. I totally get it. I totally get it. Oh. All right, let me get back through a few stitches here and then I'll show you how easy it is to get to a certain point and go, oh, picking up, are we? Okay, which is what I did. So I was on a pullback row and then I must have put it down or something. So I was also like that, like, oh, yes. Oh, picking up, are we? And just go through and keep picking up, right? And then you come back. I'll do an extra one. And then you finish that row and then you start your pull back. I'm going to pull all this section out, right? And then when you get past that point where you do your turn, see how it creates, oh, good job. See how it creates like that loop and everything's just kind of off center a little bit? We'll know that for next time. That's what it looks like where we've accidentally started picking up on a pullback. Okay. So pull back without stopping. So that's why I really do try not to stop in the middle of a row. I either stop at the end when there's one chain or stop at the other end when all the loops are on. It just makes it easier for me to remember where I'm up to in the process, because that's not the first time that's happened to me. See you later, Vampire. Yeah, that's not the first time that's happened to me in Tunisian. It's one of these things that I have to really watch out for. So with Tunisian knit stitch, I've got to watch the loosey-goosey edge. And also I need to, with all Tunisian, I need to really keep an eye on where I'm up to in the pickups versus the pullbacks. Leanne says, "Oh boy, that is a great lesson to watch out for." Yeah, it's just like knitting. It's not recommended that you put your knitting down in the middle of a row, just because sometimes your stitches look a little bit jank. But with Tunisian, it's really easy to start going in the wrong direction. Like if you don't really pay, like if you look at it and hold it and move it around, yes, you'll see it. But sometimes you're like, oh, yep, cool. And you don't really give it that much attention. Oh, I picked up those stitches the one way around. That's going to be fun. I must have gone through the backs rather than the fronts. Let me try and fix that. And that's the other thing. We need to pick stitches up from the front loops, not the back of the loops, which I don't know why we've done that, but I obviously did on those stitches before when I picked them back up after showing this thing. Just makes it a little bit harder to find the middle of the stitch. How many of those did I do? Do I need to pull that back and fix it? No, I'm not pulling it back and fixing it, FYI. I will just do it. There we go. It's just a couple. We'll see on the next row how bad it looks. It'll be like, oh my gosh, that's awful. I'm really going to have to pull that back. Oh dear. But it just goes to show you can do shaping with this. You really can. So you can do short row shaping. You can do, you know, two togethers. You're not limited because it's Tunisian. Nispin Girl says, do you think it's better to stop at the pickup row end or the cast off row end? I don't think it actually matters that much, honestly. I'm just going to zoom this back out again. I don't think it actually matters that much, as long as you know. I personally tend to usually go the other end and then use a lockable stitch marker and just drop the hook out entirely. But either way works for different reasons. And it's just going to come down to you. Like as a knitter, I can see it would definitely hold the needle in place or the hook in place. But for me, I don't actually mind that much, but I do prefer to stop on one end or the other. Because when I get back to this end, I would just actually pull the hook out entirely and just lock it with a stitch marker. I'm just checking those few stitches I had to do the other way. See if it's making a difference. It doesn't appear to be, but I will see in the next row if they sit nicely. Come and watch Chantel learn a technique and teach the technique and make all the technique mistakes. Welcome. Like you guys know, I don't profess to be an expert. I'm just a maker, just like everybody else. And I want to know any feedback or any, excuse me, any options that you have to test them out and try them out and learn new things. I just love crafting. I'm not sure if I'm placing my hook in the right place. Yep, let me grab. Okay, we've got this. We'll grab the deck. Yeah, I'm picking up. I'm going to pick up right now. Oops, I can't have charging. Cancel. Alrighty, let's go to our close-up time. Alrighty. So when we're picking up our stitches for this is the Tunisian knit stitch. We are going in between the two, like, so for the other stitch, we're going across like that, right? That was the simple stitch. For the knit stitch, we go in and all the way through, and then we are actually between the two legs of that stitch. So see how here, before we've gone in, there's a front leg and a back leg. We go in between the two legs, but push all the way through to the back and grab our loop of yarn and come through. So that is how we pick up. So we go in and all the way through. I hope that helps. And like I was saying at this during when we were doing more of the tutorial time, I kind of just roll that back lip down from the previous row just to keep it out of the way. So I'm like going through to air rather than accidentally bumping into the row previously. Oh, you were just overthinking it? Yeah, look, that happens, right? And we do that. We're like, oh, you know, especially when you get into the swing of it and you're like, oh, no, I must be doing this wrong because this feels too easy, right? But what it is just your muscle memory's kicking in and your hands are remembering how to do it without you thinking about it. So there we go. We're just 2 off and 2 off all the way to the bottom of the jar. Wish that camera wasn't zooming in and out, but I don't actually get to control that. Good job, iPhone continuity, where you can either have it as a continuity cam or not. They are the options. The advantage of it being a continuity cam is it doesn't actually need to be plugged into work. So I could have it charging while it's doing this rather than plugged into the computer. And when it's on continuity cam, it doesn't actually charge at the same time if you plug it in to the computer, just for fun, just to make life exciting. I don't understand it, but rightio. It's been girl says, I found that the first stitch you pick up a bit hard to see. My edge stitch is a bit loose and seems to like to hide that first stitch. You're right. Yeah, I'll go back here and look. This is part of the issue. You know how we're talking about the loosey-goosey edges where if we're not concentrating, they go, you know, loopy and loose. And you've really got to concentrate and tighten that first stitch off. So once, because we do have to pull it tight, it does make the stitch we want to work butt up against it. So we don't want this first loop, we want this second loop. So we go in through that second loop while still holding the tension tight so this first one doesn't end up going loosey-goosey on us. Now, this may sound bizarre. I'm kind of relieved that I'm not the only one that loosey-goosey thing happens to, but to me it means there must be a way around it, right? So if anybody knows of a way to get that better front stitch or the better first stitch without having to, you know, strangle it with a vice-like grip, please let me know or send me a tutorial or something, because I would love to learn how to do that better. I don't personally use the knit stitch a lot other than in face washes. Most projects I'm doing are using simple stitch or honeycomb stitch or full stitch, or like there's hundreds of other stitches, and maybe, just maybe, that's why. Maybe because of this issue with this stitch, that's the problem. Now if you're joining the pieces together, you could just sort of take out that whole first stitch and just join up in the gap between the first and the second stitch. So if you're joining everything together, you don't notice it as much. But with these little face washes, we're not really joining anything. We can totally add a border on though to cover that up. Work over that stitch and stick a single crochet border on it and a crab stitch, like bring that on. It holds the shape of your face washer better as well if they've got little borders on them. I love a crab stitch border on my crochet washers, purely because they do hold their shape better. It holds it all in tight. Like yes, the middles will still get all like, but the edges will hold better, so they won't be all like pulled out quite as badly. So, but yeah, but what I'm planning on doing, let me just do a quick count here: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 6, 8, 32. Yep, cool. As what I'm planning on doing is, once I'm all done with my washes, I'm going to sit down and give them all the same color border. So I'm thinking the yellow, because I've got 2 more to do. So we've got the honeycomb one coming up next, and then after that I've got a little pattern that I've put together that incorporates all the stitches. I mean, the lady whose husband made the hooks is because she is a Tunisian designer, so I wouldn't be surprised if Abby Maid has a tip for it. Definitely worth sending her a DM over that. Be like, hey, knit stitch, why is it such a loosey goose on the edges? Is there a trick that I just don't know? I mean, we could probably just Google it, and there's probably a YouTube video that solves it. Oh yeah, we can do the edges together if you like. We can have that as the week after, if that's something you'd like to do. I feel a bit weird doing like week after week after week of Tunisian, because there's like people who probably don't care about Tunisian. But I just think, you know, we don't do this very often. This is a special thing. So it's not like every year I do like a whole series on one thing that nobody else, you know. We're doing some testing and trialing here. We're seeing if we like teaching live in these live streams, or whether or not it doesn't work. A bit of fluff come from? Get away from me. Whoops, picked up extra stuff. Get off. Bit from the previous stitch. What have I done there? Let's try again. Straighten you out. There we go. That's better. The cable's rubbing on my coffee cup. Let's just move the coffee cup out of the way. Francis says, I'm looking forward to learning the different Tunisian stitches each week. That's awesome. Bianca says, it's great to be able to ask questions while learning. That's like, and that's the thing, right? Like, I love doing an in-person workshop. I really do. Because you can walk around and you can help people with each individual issue. But this way here means that everybody can join in. Like, we don't all have to be in the same physical location, which I know can be really hard. So yeah, so this is like a testing thing for maybe something else down the track that would be like a, you know, probably a paid thing or a members thing. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided that's the way I want to go. Oh, poor Louis. Abby is apparently doing artwork and Louis needs a shaved foot for it. So I bet Louis is really impressed about this plan. Let's have a look here. It's been fun. Plus, we're still chatting about our usual random stuff. And that's the big thing, right? Like, and we do that during workshops as well. People just have conversations and chat and, you know, they get on with the stuff because there's always the bit to learn. Plus, there's the bit where you just keep doing the same thing over and over again to cement it into your brain, to really like, which is why we do the little samples to learn how to do it, and then we make the full-size face washer to keep it in our memory, to get our hands to remember it, to get the muscle memory going on it. So yeah, this is the thing. And we have a replay to watch if we miss the beginning. Absolutely. Like if you come in halfway through an in-person class, everyone's going to be ticked. Here, you can just scrub back to the beginning or scrub back to wherever it is and watch that bit and then join back into the conversation once you've caught up. And then, like, I don't care if you ask questions throughout the whole live stream about it, because we all work at different speeds and different things click better, and sometimes you might need to describe something in a different way to make it click for somebody else. I got asked the question a couple of years ago, like why I was attending all these different crochet classes when I am a qualified crochet instructor. And I was just like, well, different people describe the same thing differently. What happens if I've got someone in my class that's not really catching on to how I have said something in the way that I say it, but if I could describe it in a different way, that might click for them. So I'm sitting through these classes learning new ways to talk to my students, learning new ways to describe things on why and how things happen. So I may not be here to learn a particular technique of the stitch, but I am here to learn a particular technique of the teaching method. And I'm paid for the class to be here, and I sit there and I do it with everybody else as well. It's not like I'm just popping in and being disruptive. I mean, I am disruptive, let's be honest. I can't do a class without being a smarty pants, especially if I'm there with friends. We have to talk and snark, because that's what we do. Like, not mean snark, but just fun snark. Like, a group of us went and did a class a friend of ours was teaching, and like, because we found it, oh, what have I done there? Hang on a second. We found out that one of her classes was like not selling well, and we decided that our whole group was just going to go and buy a ticket. And like, this class was down at Skein Sisters. I had to go to Sydney to do it. And there was basically 2 people in the whole class that were not part of our group. And it was so funny when they realized we actually all knew each other, including the instructor. And she didn't know we were all coming. So like, we didn't all walk in together. We kind of just walked in when we arrived. What's going on here? The yarn buff is attacking all the other finished bits and pieces and another ball of yarn. It's like, we need more yarn in the yarn. No, don't put your tail there. It's just going to connect on. But it was so much fun. Okay, so here I'm like, oh, am I picking up or am I weaving off? But I'm weaving off. You can see here. I watched so many videos when I was trying to learn tubular cast off. It wasn't sinking in until one of the videos described it a bit differently, and then it clicked. I was the same with Norwegian knitting, or Norwegian purling, I should say. I had to watch a few different people teach it before it actually clicked. And for me, it was actually how Arna taught it. Like, so I'd watched a pile of different people, then I watched Carlos teach it, and then I watched Arna teach it in a different video, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's actually just clicked. Because I was like, I can't do this. I can't make it work. I can't get the purl to do how I need it to go. And then I watched how Arna taught it and spoke about it. And even though him and Carlos work together and teach together all the time, they both teach slightly different method for the same stitch. It was a game changer. It was an absolute game changer. So just because one person, like you sat down and watched a video tutorial on something and you didn't get it, go and check out how somebody else teaches it. Don't give up on it if you really want to learn it. Leanne says, that's so true. We all need to resonate with our teacher. Crocodile Stitch took me so long to understand in quite a few tutorials as well. Game Widows is heading off. It's actually that time, isn't it, Game Widows? I'm just going to finish picking up this row. And then I will also say fairly well. But tonight, those of you in the Brisbane, Logan, Gold Coast areas, if you want to meet up at the Logan IKEA, I'll be there with our tried and true team of caffeinated crafters girls who come and hang out. Right on there. I jipped that up. Get off my hook and try a second time. There we go. He's not on camera, Abs. You can go in and get him. Louis running to hide. Louis like, no, I don't want to be part of your art installation, Abby. Like, I do not want to make dog paw flowers. He's so not keen. Oh man, poor dog. Oh, you should have seen his face. I should have had him on camera when he came in. He's like, please don't make me go out there again. There we go. All right. So I've got all of those stitches resting on. For me, that's a place I can end without my brain hurting. Oh, poor Louis. Poor Louis dog, who has to go and be an art installation. Poor thing. It's like, no, and it's like holding onto his bed. It was so funny. But yeah, we can definitely have a chat about doing an edging class onto these as well. That obviously, just like with normal crochet edging, it's going to depend on the individual stitches. Some will be easier, some will be harder. This one will be way easier to edge than the knit one will, or even the honeycomb, just because it's got like the nice neat edging on all four edges. So it makes it so easy to do. But yeah, we'll definitely have a go with some edging as well. I'll just show you my favorite edging. Obviously, you can put any edge on that you want. You can put scallops on, because we just use normal crochet edging. I don't do Tunisian edging. Not to say you couldn't do Tunisian edging. I just, you know, I'm going to do single crochet around it and put on a crab stitch is my usual go-to. But yeah, so that's probably what we'll do. I'll have a little look and see if I can't find something a bit more interesting, but that's usually the one I go with because it does hold everything in together quite nicely. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're done and dusted for today. Let me know in the chat or in the replay if you've got any other questions. We can dig in and do any troubleshooting on the knit stitch at the beginning of next week's video or next week's live stream, where we're going to learn honeycomb stitch. So that one, you're going to need to bring your brain game with that one, because we are technically learning two things at the same time. So I will catch you all here on the flip side. Be awesome. Have a great week. And yeah, see you next time. Bye now.